Can you hear me? Is that a bit better? Okay. First of all, I would like to apologize for the technical problems. It's not their fault, it's my fault. I had a mistake or a problem with one of the ports here. So the idea that I have for today for this speech is for you to leave the session with a greater understanding, learning of how to think badly about applications. That's what I want. I have some tests prepared. I brought them with me to prolong or to extend Black Friday a little bit, making the most or exploiting faults in commercial websites. And I've brought an extra computer with me to make sure we can do that. So let's hope we can have a look. So if we don't have, for example, if they don't have our size, it says our size isn't available, to insist and ask for our size anyway, and then they're the ones that'll have to find it. And to show the fact that their application could be improved. So we're going to talk about motivation. If we can get the cable I need, because I think it's actually very interesting for you to see that. Let's hope the organizers can bring me the cable I need. But the motivation then we are talking about here is all about these everyday subjects. In a conference where Steve Jobs presented one of his products, people got VIP entries, VIP entries for free, and this was because the application didn't behave correctly or appropriately. And a Virtumart extension for Joomla. This is an example in which they managed to get super user rights through execution of a variable which was not validated. Here, this is one of my favorites. Alex Holding managed to avoid the payment of the ISC2. How many of us here have the certificate? A few? It's torture every time month of January comes round, and you have to say, oh, this year, how much is it going to be? It's madness, $120 or however much. So in this case, ISC2, which is what's requested by the CISSP, there was an error, and before the payment period, you got validation, and you managed to get in without having to pay, which is great for us. I've got more examples here. Somebody in Illinois who had their application for online shopping. Somebody replaced the price with a 0.1, and so they paid 1 cent for all kinds of products. These things happen. Here we have another of my favorites. It's a bug in Bugzilla. So it's like a kind of a repetitive bug, and it allowed you to achieve or to kind of leap over the validation of the email, so they got administration rights in the application. And here we're going to have a couple of characters with us, accompanying us. We're going to be accompanied by a couple of people in this presentation. One of them is called Paul on the left. He's 27 years old. He's working, he's been working for 5 years already. He works as an IT engineer for a company which provides shopping basket solutions. And this is going to be really the essence of this talk and what people can do with the shopping basket. And he's never really paid attention to security issues, and his boss hasn't really either. He wasn't bothered about them, although he was aware that he wasn't really doing things quite right. Here we've got Mike. He's 22. He doesn't work. He studies. He's at university, and he kind of attacks the applications that he finds on the web because, he enjoys doing that. And he's very aware of what it means if your website is not really secure. So the story begins when Paul receives communication from his boss saying that a customer has complained because somebody is reporting web vulnerabilities that have been detected in our shopping basket. Do you know anything about that, Paul? Well, Well, he thinks, well, that's been there right from the very first version, 0.0. You know, he's never been concerned about it. He just wanted to make sure that the application worked. It was too much hassle to think about whether it was secure. And obviously, you know, something would have got through to him, and well, he had in mind what he would do in the event of having problems, and so it's pretty clear about what he has to do. And this is the application that Paul has been using up till now. We can see this car here from the Flintstones, and now he decides he's going to have lots of security. He's going to do security, you know, he's going to go really overboard. He's going to do everything, use everything, even the stuff he doesn't need. He's going to codify the entry. You know, we're going to eliminate non-valid characters. We're going to codify the exit, everything. We're going to cover absolutely everything I can think of.
And of course, I'm going to shield myself against everything here. I'll look at the sessions and many other things. And I'll become this. I'll go from one extreme to the other, and no one can get in here. It's impossible to vulnerate my application, but we're missing something here. And Mike is aware of this. He knows. One given day, or he hacks at 3 a.m. because he can't sleep. You know, these things kind of happen. You can't sleep and you say, okay, what shall I do tonight? Well, I'll look for some vulnerable machines. You go in and say, oh, goodness, I reported this 1 month ago. Let's see what happened here. And Paul limited his application. And it seems that things got solved. Because at least people listened to him. And if I change a little number here, and this is a legitimate request, these might break. Something will happen here. This will not render a Puini, but you know, you deserve some credit when you get there and say, well, I found a vulnerability after everything that you've done. Security-wise, you're doing good, the sessions are not bad, but here, I just got something through. Do all the shelters, but after you shelter it, I'll fill your shelter with water. We have a B-side that is usually not explored, which is knowing how the application is supporting the business processes and going against this. Going against the status machines that are on the line. And these are the business logic attacks. And this is how Mike somehow managed to own the Pulse application. So what are we looking for? In this room, which color do you think is the symbol of security problems within an application regarding business logic? Who goes with Bordeaux? Green? Come on, raise your hand. Green over there? Over here? Green? Yes? It's green actually. The application shouldn't have this function, but it is doing it. It is there. And we're going to avail of it for our own profit. So the business logic needs to be tested. And we're going to see a tool that will allow us to prove this. And we're going to look at a systematic methodology that allows us to test this. My intention with this speech, or this presentation, is to do it half theoretical and half practical. So that right here you can see how everything is done. But I don't think I'll have the time to do everything, even though I'll try to explain how everything works, and to also explain real cases I've found that worked really well. So what is an abuse case? Yes, okay. Let's see whether we are lacking, can look at practical aspects. So regarding the usage cases, for those of us who finished our degrees, we've already seen this. We know how they work, And they are just lists of steps that we need to check to make sure that the application is functionally okay. And next, we're going to have a negative thought burden. We're going to have someone evil there, otherwise applications will go to production, and someone evil out there will try to look at the vulnerabilities. Not one, but 100,000 evil people. So we need to do this before the applications go into production. So the abuse case is just an equivalent to the usage case. It doesn't even have special symbols. It just adds a stakeholder to add that negative thought. There are no symbols or a specific methodology that are introduced this way. Is there anyone here from the testing world? Not from pen testing, but from testing. So this is basically a transcription of what should happen within a cloud model with a waterfall development regarding tests to the business logic. We need to look for the key requirements. We need to use the usage cases available to design the abuse cases whenever they exist. If they don't exist, they can be created from scratch. We can do the workflows, we can look at how the application operates, we assess the critical data, and we test here, because if this happens, there might be a mess in the company. So we need to detect, to get a deep understanding of the application. To do this, we need to detect implementation weaknesses, and finally we need to put them into practice. All of this renders a ladder taking us to a bad. So let's look at a pulse application. I'm going to stop here, change the PC here, and change it at the end and check if everything works. So the application is eBay version 001. This is from a vulnerable website application. I haven't really touched anything. And it will be useful to assess this type of failures that might not be included within the application's development as such, because it's designed as some sort of CTF where you get different challenges, and this one wasn't there. But I installed it and I discovered that it wasn't working well in this regard. So as you may see here, the application has basically a set of items. It is a shopping basket application or shopping cart application with certain items with a price, and you keep adding them up. You just add them to your cart and it's just a normal application. So let's look at what we can do to test this, because we need to work hard on it and see what it does. Just have an about, a contact, and an item search, and a part where we have the shopping trolley, and we have a central core for the business processes, which is logging and account registration. You access the section, you select an item, you can increase or decrease the number of items, you can add them to the cart, you can increase or decrease the number of items, and then you can update the cart of the basket. So it's just a normal application flow. And within this flow, we have several critical points where there may be an increase of privileges, and points with content access where the price is altered, and this is a key parameter. Well, for all these points, with Mike's thinking, well, I want to break this. Could I have access to private sections? Maybe some of them are published, but I cannot see them. What happens if I add a negative number or a wrong type in the section selector? What happens if I fill in the section selector with a number of more than 100,000 digits? Could I modify the price of items? Could I modify the number of items without altering the total price? I need to add a negative number of items. Would it be possible to request non-existent items? Will all items be published? Could I request a non-public one? Which will be the maximum number of items to request? Could I fill the cart and I still pay for it? Could I change the price during the update? What happens if I do an update on an item that is not in my cart? is something you can think about in just 2 minutes. You get there and see the application and say, okay, how can I break it? But you need to have a mindset set on breaking things. Could I include a negative number of items for an update? And this is equivalent to that abuse case. It's an abuse case designed for this, to break that update for that number of items. We would select 3 items, we would add them to the cart, we would update the number of items. And in this flow, there is someone who is a security tester, who includes this negative thinking, and includes a negative number of items there. How is this done? Because if it's limited by the interface, how do we do it? By having interception proxies, such as Barsuite or Zap. So let's see whether we manage to show how all this works. The objective is to get a better trust level in the treatment of the items on the server side. We have certain preconditions, things need to be in their own place, and the categories need to have the items we need to execute this case. We have stakeholders such as the user and the tester and a description. Let us say it's a step-by-step we need to follow. In practical terms, we can think of this any way we want. There's an Excel with this, and you should assess the abuse cases that should be available right after the requirements stage. Because the development department needs to be aware, but they don't have time in development, but they need to be aware of the most critical points of the application. If I tell development, well, these are your critical points, development will take into account and in mind all of this. Just like if they give them a set of security requirements, they can say, okay, validate all the data inputs we have on the server and the sources versus special characters, and reject the request. You can have that, and they will take that into account from the beginning. Otherwise, they might not know about it, because in development they're not specialists on security. Even I don't know how to program this kind of application. And here we have the first hack. Maybe we can try to put the cable. Meanwhile, I'll sum up the 3 demos. We'll do a first demo with an application that I've got here in a Tomcat. This is the application done supposedly by Paul. Maybe you can even leave it here, as you wish. I think it might be easier. I do apologize.
¿Esto va por USB también?
This goes through USB too.
No, pero si este va por VGA aquí directamente, ¿no?
We connect this through VGA.
Ah, vale. Esta es tu VGA. Vamos a ver si de esta manera podemos conseguir. Hay que conectar algo más. O no, a ver, un momento. Ahora parece que sí que ha identificado algo. La de HDMI que sale. A ver si lo pilla. No quiere funcionar. Pues ya sé que para el siguiente me traigo el mío. ¿No va? Vale, pues ya está. ¿Se le vuelvo a cambiar al otro? Sí, sí. No, cambiarlo al otro.
Is this working? Okay. You might not be able to see it at the end, but we're going to show you a video that I recorded. And when we have something we like, and in the backfire they did all this, we could ask for our size, even if it's not there, because if I want it, I want it. And on this hack, we have exactly the same thing we've seen in the abuse case. We don't have it here on a video, we have it locally, and we assumed it was enough of a guarantee.
Lo que hacemos es capturamos la petición cuando vamos a hacer una.
Here we capture the request when we do an update, and we change the number of items to a negative number. So what happens here? The application gives you money back, because it calculates, it does a calculation with that number you send her, and it gives you money back. And this seems funny, but you may see my hours presentation, which is online, and you can see where I bought things at zero cost. And this is quite funny because I bought the zero cost there, and until recently I could still do it. And I was bringing my demo to keep buying at zero cost until yesterday. Yesterday I did the last test, and I saw that they had changed everything. It's wonderful. And I said, okay, so what now? And I was there until 5 a.m. and managed to restructure the presentation and check that there were failures in the business logic in other places that were quite important. Well, this does happen, and how? I notified this, and it was a bit commercial, but how did this happen? Well, this happens because, very similarly, you got there with your shopping trolley to the latest step. To the step before the payment. You get with that card there, and you put everything through a proxy recording all the requests, one by one. You located an update request done with a former card, and you did the update directly with the latest step, or the last step, and you added the item to your shopping cart with the number of items that you have selected in the former request at zero cost, because it didn't have it. It had an update operation or an element it didn't have there, so the business logic was not right. And you could go to the payment gateway with all your items, and you could add whether you wanted socks or a gym t-shirt, and you got everything at zero cost. And that failure was in a commercial product. And later I saw the same product on more webs. And the last one is this one. This one here was done exactly to check how the payment gateways work. And this demo is quite funny because we can modify all requests. You get to the last stage, and when you have everything in your cart, you go to the gateway for payments with your cart cost and with all the requests that you did underline that. What happened here? Oh, it seems it's not working eventually, but, well, let's continue. Here we get to the last stage, and then you go to the payment gateway, and here you may change the description, and the aim here is to do a 2x1, so that we change the description, we kept the same order identification, and we say, okay, instead of a bedside table we should have two. So you change the description and no one validates it. They do validate the price though. You change the price and they validate it. But if you change the description, they don't validate it. And while you are at the payment gateway, the RES service that is saving the cart, which is like an always Spanish song, where's my cart? Well, the cart is there. the shopping basket is there, but you do a Control R in bar suite to repeat the request, and you get another code. And what may happen here? Two things. First, at the request, there's a callback, and when they come back, they validate whether you did any of these dirty little things. Otherwise, you're there with your 2 items, but you only paid for 1, so you get 2 for 1, 2 for the price of 1. And this was the example that I might not be able to show you, but I do have this one. And I was like, oh, this is so bad, I can't believe everything is failing. Well, nearly.
¿Sí? ¿Sí? ¿Le bajo? Vale, vamos a intentarlo.
Okay, let's try it. I'm going to show you the video, and if you agree, we'll do this online because it's quite cool. If you're in a hurry, let me know. But this is really cool. So when we get here, we are at the Springfield's website. I'm not making anything up, and you may say, okay, there is a vest I like Black Friday is over, you know, there are not many sizes, so here's like some model looking like Justin Bieber. Here's a guy, so we can select this. It's not really my style, but you know, I'd rather get it green. So I swapped this here, I think. Yes, I did swap it, I did change it. Yes, I did change it. I like it better in green. So here you have lots of sizes that you can't get. Why can I not get these sizes? Why not? Who tells me which size I should get? So you get here and you select an XS size, you add it to the cart, and up there we see an item. And why do we do this? Because we have the bar suite behind. We have a proxy recording all the requests. And it's really doing a man in the middle operation to see everything. So this is the bar suite, and we got 2 requests. We look at them, and these are the 2 different sizes ready to the cart, because I want to know how to add things on the one hand, and I want to know what is underlying, how this application logic works. So I want to know what is the difference of having one item or a different one. So if I can add an item that is limited by interface, I'll add it. And here we have a number, which is 05. And if we go again to the interface, we'll see that this number corresponds to size M. That's the size we want. This is mine. I'm not going to get any other. Okay. This is the aim, and what happens here, and careful, because the Springfield website was okay until recently. I don't know what happened here. One stopped working, I don't know about the other one, but on the Springfield's website, this has always worked fine. But they have sequential identifiers, and you can get a repetition replay. I want the M, XL was 5, XS was 1, so M is 3. I send the request, I get 200, okay. I go there and I do an F5 on the page. I get my new item up there, and then we go to the bag. We go to our shopping cart, and it says, well, are you trolling me? How come you're giving me these requests? I don't have the stock. Well, you don't have a stock? Tell me. This was what would you say earlier? And I said, well, this is really good. This is really good. But I don't know what happened here. And he says, please eliminate the article. It's no longer available. But if I got here, I do not intend to eliminate it. I intend to buy it. So the topic here is, and it disables the finish purchase button. I said, okay. I leave here with a phone bag. I go to F12, you go here, you look for the field, you modify it, because this is a static HTML. And since I have it, I can do anything I want with it. So you get to here, you look for the field, we look at the field, little by little, we locate it, and we're nearly there. Here's this disable, and I don't like it. So here it is, we have the button, we go to finish purchase, and obviously if there are other things you don't want, such as the larger vests or jackets, you can give it to your uncle or to whoever you want. You can take them out and just leave your size, and this is it. You got through there, but then you can say, okay, I want to do an anonymous purchase, sure, and you go to your cart, to your M, and everything else. But I'll report this because it's been good, but it's not good anymore. I don't know why. And obviously, I would like to say a disclaimer here. I'm not responsible for anything that you do out of this presentation. This is the last demo. Let's see whether we can do another one online, because it's a lot more visual, so you can see how everything is done gradually. Let's just try it and see whether we manage it. Shall we try it once more? Can we change it here? Okay. Well, thank you very much, by the way. Let's try to operate with a Kali virtual machine. Anyone here doesn't know Kali? Well, Kali is a Linux distribution used to be evil and do evil things. Or good things in my case. We can do it for the online shop, for means of payment. Let's do one of them. Since on the video you saw the jacket, let's try to replicate it very quickly. I just take a little seat here. I think I'll be more comfortable and make less errors. So here's our jacket. We have some more here. Let's look at the sizes of each of them. Let's check whether some jackets are missing some sizes. This one doesn't have XXL. Let's look at some lighter colors. Let's go here. I had a look at one this morning because I don't trust this anymore.
Esto es Bar Suite, ¿vale? Que no deja de ser, pues, es un programa que...
This Bar Suite is a program that is placed in the middle of the browser. And to continue, we got another error.
A ver, vamos a intentar cerrar el proxy y volverlo a abrir. Vamos a cerrar aquí.
Try to open this, close that. And let's see if this works. So we have it here now. It just got a light against me. So let's look at this here and look at whether there is any problem regarding the cookies. And let's try to delete this. So cookies here, yes. Maybe it's due to this. Let me just check this, whether it's a connection problem. Well, it's impossible to get here because network cable is not connected. As simple as that.
Falla la lógica de negocio.
A failure in your business logic. If you don't connect the network cable, you cannot do the demo.
Vamos a ver si llegamos. A ver, vamos a reiniciar un segundo. Disculpad. Bueno, ya lo tenemos por ahí. Vamos a ver si esto está funcionando.
So we're going to see if this is working.
Bueno, ya lo tenemos funcionando, ¿vale?
Okay, so we've got it working now. Here we have the proxy recording requests. We have our proxy, we can intercept things, and you come here, and well, we've got all of the requests that are being made from the website. And we've got what the website, we've done it in the background. We've got the men's section. We're going to go to the coats, and here we have our favorite model here. We're going to choose this one just by way of example, and good, they don't have my size, so we're going to simplify the demonstration. We're going to choose the one here which is extra small, XS. We've selected it, we add it to our shopping bag, and here we have it. But I want the M. I want what we saw before. So we take the M. We come here, we can look where the request is, where it adds it to the shopping bag or basket. And here we have the identifier. Since we have XS, there are two sizes between that and the M size, the medium size, so we increase it by 2 numbers, which would be the corresponding code. We take this request and we say, no, we want a 3, which would correspond to M. We launch that request. It says OK. That means it all went fine. We do F5. So let's see. Here we have it. We've got our 2 things in our shopping bag. And here we have it. We have the M. We go to the bag. We have the proxy there. We don't need telling that because I put it there. Yes, it's mine. And we come here, and what we have is the problem that we talked about earlier. We have this problem in the logic. It's not, well, it's telling us that they don't have that article, and I just want to order it anyway because I don't care. So this one I eliminate it because it's not my size. What am I going to want an extra small one for? It's much too small for me. So from here we say we've got the product that we want, and now we want to, well, we have to deactivate, it's deactivated, we want to activate it. So we find it here. We come down here and we can look for this framework and that particular button little by little. It's okay. Let's see. This is one that's over here, around here. Here we have it. Down here. We keep looking for it. And we're getting closer. This one. This one down the bottom. Here we have this one. The table just below it. This one, and then this one. Here we have the field set, sorry. And we're getting closer to that button. Here it is. Here we are. Disabled. And that's not what I want. Let's see if I can get rid of that. There we go. So we've got rid of it. So now we have our purchase operation. It's activated. And here we have our shopping basket. And well, I'd say I'd rather buy like a guest. I don't like including information. So here we are. We have our item, and this is the address for them to send it to us. We can ask for it to be wrapped as a present. But here we have it. We have our item. It's in our website, and they should send it to us. So with this demo, we've got this far, and now we're going to do the demo for the means of payment, because we're going to do it quickly because I've registered with my own information yesterday. I did that in advance. And here what we have is a bizarre website. I like tea sets. I like them. I like tea houses and everything related to that, and I want to have one of these tables that they have. And I'm going to see if I buy some tables like they have in the tea houses. I'm going to buy one. It looks great, doesn't it? Isn't it beautiful? It's really cool. The way it whizzes across the screen as well, it looks great. So I've got my little table in my shopping basket, and what we want to do here is a 2-for-1. We want to prolong Black Friday. We want to get one for free. So we go to the proxy, and we're going to look at this one down here. This is what adds things to the shopping basket. And one option is to use this request to add things to the shopping basket once we're in the very last step in the process. But we're going to go beyond that even. We're going to go to the shopping trolley. We're going to confirm. Here we are. Here we're going to record 2 requests, one which increases it by 1 and one which decreases it by 1. So let's have a look. We've got 2 post requests. They go straight, and this one increases and this one decreases. So here we want the one that increases. We want 2 for the price of 1, not 1 for the price of 2. So here we go. We continue with the shopping process with 1. That's the idea. And we say, yes, I come from Santiago de Compostela. I'm called Mr. Fake from nowhere street. And I go on to the follow step here. This is a commercial product. I doubt that the fault will be specific here. We carry on. We can talk about the invoicing method, etc. We come to the last step, which is delivery, conditions for delivery. Another thing we could do, for example, the policies are very important. Could anybody try, skipping the policies? If you manage to get a user without signing the policy, then, how do you get rid of them if they manage to enter the system without signing your policy? Obviously, if they broke the law, it would be a different matter, but that's another thing that people might try to do. They might try to bypass anything that seems important to the business. So the next thing we're going to do here is to pay, and as I said, we're going to pay with the RedSys Safe connection because we like security. And we're going to come here, we're going to say to the proxy, this is good for you to get this first before going anywhere else. So we say this to the proxy, okay, I know, yes, I know, I've done this, this is mine, it's mine, this proxy. So we confirm the exception and we send it. And here, let's see whether it works. Here I have the interception. Okay, and here the description. The description where it says one table? No, I want two tables. Two tables. Okay. So we click on forward. Let's see, we're going to switch the intercept off. So we get rid of that intercept, and here we're in the means of payment. And then we need to know where my basket is. You know, it's got to be somewhere. I've got to associate it with my payment identification. I've got to associate it with my order. What we're going to do is take our request that we recorded earlier. We have it here. This is the one. We're going to take it, we're going to repeat it in the background, and we're going to say add another one, and it says yes. I've got it here. Good. Well, with this request that we've added, we've got two things. On the one hand, well, we've got to have the description which states two tables, and on the other hand, the basket has two. We've got to see that the basket has two, and if not, well, I'll show you. There they are. Two products. So what we have to see is whether it's going to validate it. What we would expect is that it would be validated. I wouldn't imagine that there'd be measures to think otherwise. And if you do validate that, you get a 2-for-1. I've found this on occasions, that it goes through a payment gateway that they've created, and they have a back-end request and all that kind of thing, and then either you can just jump over, skip the payment phase, or add things to the basket once you've got to the payment step. And these are important, considerable problems. Okay, so this is we've got so far with the demonstrations, and I don't know if they can change me on the computer, please. Thank you.
Bueno, cualquier cosa que sea ir más allá de lo que he hecho yo aquí es delito.
Anything that goes beyond what I've done here is a crime, so be careful with that. So let's move on to the conclusions. What's going on with all of this? Does anybody test this in the applications they develop? Do you test this business logic? Over there, one person. We'll have a coffee later. I'll pay for it. I'll invite you to a coffee. Nobody else? Well, that's one person. So hardly any tests are done with this. These are really important faults, So the conclusion is that these light up a dark area in security, which is a source of bugs. It reinforces the application security, increases the trust of customers in the application security, and it's included in negative thinking in the testing process. So as we add functions, we can include more cases, and it will have a largely reusable repository in the case of the abuse. No security or perimeter security device will protect you against this kind of attacks. You can prevent a lot of things, but not this. So you have to test this and guarantee that your business logic is really well designed. And here we've got some references. And any questions? Now is the moment. This is the good, this is the moment, now or never. Any questions? between the two, burp and zap, are there any times when one is better than the other? Is it a price issue? Does it just matter on personal preference? Is it just a matter of personal preference? Well, I prefer BAP for several reasons. I've had problems in virtual environments with ZAP, and burp is more agile. ZAP is a bit heavier. With the scan, the Burp Suite scan, I have better results in general. And it's a payment application, but it's very cheap. I mean, this version is the free version that we've seen, and it's good for many things. You can do many things with it. The paying version, I think it's $240, and you get your money back the very next day. It's really good. It works really well. The functionality is very similar between the two, but there are things that are better in ZAP. For example, the interception of response requests, which can be more selective. So there are things that I like better. But in general, it works really well. The functionality is very good. I prefer burp almost 100% of the time. I have two questions. First of all, the version of PrestaShop that the page used. All of them. No? Well, this is very recent. This is just from last week, so I can imagine that the version would have been the latest version. I've not investigated. I've not done grabbing to see what there is there. And the second question is, when it comes to when you find a vulnerability in business logic, how do you react when it comes to informing the company? What procedure do you follow? Normally, we look for a contact address for that person, and we had the payment solution with Shana, which, well, I don't know if some of you may have got the response, but I haven't received a response. But they end up solving it. They know that it's there, and sometimes they might answer, sometimes they might not. And in this case, you look for a contact in the company, and you can look for that through the domain, through the administration. Normally there's an associated email, or you can open up an incident, and in that way the support services should give you support. Well, they should. They may not always do that, but they should. Anything else? Anybody else? No? Well, thank you very much. My apologies to the organization. It was my fault, the problems that we had, and I'm really grateful that they've managed to give me the means to show you this and do my presentation in the end. And again, thank you to the organizers for inviting me here. I hope to come back next year. It's really cool. Thanks.